How's it going, everyone? I hope everyone's had a good month so far. And I know that I've been shouldn't cuss probably. I've been super busy with school. I know Samir here has been super busy with work. He's got a new job coming up, and he actually has something to tell you guys. Go ahead, Samir. What have you been up to, and what did you recently purchase that you want to tell everyone about?
I'm hoping I'm sounding real crispy over here today.
Yeah, you do sound a lot better. So Samir actually has he actually purchased the is it the X, right? Also the Blue Yeti X.
No, so it's just a Blue Yeti, so it's not the newer one. I'm getting a little bit of echo over here.
Oh, you might be actually. Are you actually listening from Twitch? Is that why?
No, I closed the Twitch window. Let me just make sure. Okay, I think I'm good now.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
we are good.
Just wanted to be sure. So, it looks like my camera is like fucking up a little bit, but I don't know why it does that. It's only with OBS for some reason. But okay, so we do have a lot of crap to cover today. It's pretty interesting topics though.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me go ahead and let's see. Let me pull it up before we begin. So, last month we basically talked more about Cyberpunk, and I mean, I know both of us are really hyped for Cyberpunk, and we're looking forward to it again. But so as you got your now you have a webcam. Actually, you recently just got that webcam, right? Or you've had it?
Yeah, so we got the webcam too, the C920.
Okay.
I've been had it, but I just started using it again.
Okay.
So I think it's a good setup.
It's not bad. It's good. It's nice. And so far I have upgraded some of my stuff. Like I got an arm for my mic, so now it's above my thing and it's out of the way, so I don't have to like worry about it now. Which was one annoying thing, was that it was always in the way and I couldn't reach my keyboard. And I know that this month, literally, it's been almost has it been a month since we last had our like live podcast? I think wasn't it like at the end of August, also like the 21st. I think, yeah, it was actually on the 21st.
Yep,
So
it
it's
was
been a
on the
little
21st.
bit. Yeah, it was a little bit over a month ago, and so we're back and we're ready to talk about all the interesting stuff that has happened in a month, and all the stuff that we're about to talk about. It just makes you realize how much can happen within 1 month, just in one industry alone, especially in the games industry. So I believe me and Samir were discussing earlier about the interesting naming scheme of the Xbox and what Microsoft has chosen. And
yeah, so let me share my screen real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and show them.
So, we want to make sure we cite our sources over here.
Yeah.
So, can you guys see this?
Let me jump in there and then let me switch to the big view. Yeah, everyone should be able to see that.
Yeah, perfect. So, I want to make sure you guys see this story. A crap ton of people, I guess, accidentally bought Xbox One X's, thinking that they were the Series X. So, Yang Ye, a YouTuber, he did a really good video on this as well, which I'll show you guys here, his YouTube channel, if you guys want to check him out, talking about this.
So,
here's his YouTube channel here, and basically they thought they were buying the new Xbox, but they're actually buying the old one, and sales skyrocketed on Amazon. So it's pretty entertaining.
That is actually pretty funny. That's kind of good for them, I guess, but it's not the it's for the wrong thing, which is pretty funny. I mean, I guess people that I think people that are actually we're probably gonna get an Xbox Series X. Ended up.
I mean, it's even confusing for gamers, right?
Yeah, it
like
is.
The naming scheme that Xbox has chosen is one of the worst.
Dude, it's no, it's not. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's not a good choice. The naming system, or the way that they decided to name it, is interesting. I actually literally was kind of confusing myself just as I was trying to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which one is the new one? And I realized that Xbox One is the older one, which is funny because that means a lot of people ended up buying the same console that they probably already have, or people that don't have an Xbox or a console probably ended up buying one, and now they're gonna have to buy another one maybe. But the thing is, one thing about this is since it's from M, one thing about this is since it's from M, one thing. Okay, so I would say that was a little hiccup right there. I was mentioning this earlier. We're probably gonna have a bunch of little hiccups on the way because we're still trying to learn everything. But since this is on Amazon, one thing about Amazon is that they're good about refunding people back what they don't want. So I mean, they're good at taking that stuff back. But I mean, yeah, the in the long run, it is good for Microsoft. But I mean, it's gonna be a big. I would say it's probably gonna be like a hit to them. I don't know. What do you think, Samir?
So I just feel like this is gonna happen maybe like on other websites as well.
Yeah.
So like eBay, because like let's say you have a parent who's going and buying the console on the children's behalf. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
hey, my kid wants it. I go to the store and I get it for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, you told me to get you the Series X. Here it is. Well, it's actually the Xbox One X. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, but what's nice about it is maybe you can actually play some of those Series X games on your One X and it's cheaper. So this might just work out for you.
That's true. And that's a plus for a lot of people, I guess. I mean, there, like as I said, there's probably a lot of people that don't have a console that probably ended up buying it, which is, I guess, kind of nice. Um, but yeah, with that being said, I mean, it's interesting that it went up 700%. um, you know what? Another thing about this is, I think it's on our list. I don't know if it is, but I'm pretty sure a lot of those sales had to do with the new acquisition of Bethesda, because the timing of the news that Microsoft ended up purchasing Bethesda and ZeniMax, which is the parent company, all together at once, has basically boosted Microsoft's, I think, even some of their stocks maybe, but it also has boosted the sales of the new console. And the thing is that Xbox timed it really well because they plan to announce it like they announced it the day before pre-orders opened for the new console. So it was very smart timing on their part. And I'm gonna say to add on to this, yeah, the sales probably were a lot higher in this case because that they bought Bethesda. As everyone knows, for the mess that Fallout 76 is, Bethesda actually produces a lot of quality products like their other studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Roundhouse Studios. There's a bunch of studios. What else is there? They have Arcane. What are the other studios, Samir? Do you remember all the separate studios? Because there's like 7 or 8 studios that it's under Bethesda that Microsoft now owns. And they own all those IPs. So they own Fallout, they own not Skyrim. They own the Elder Scrolls series, they own Doom.
id Software.
id Software. Yeah, I totally forgot id Software. That's like one of the big ones. I love Doom. Like it's actually one of my favorite games of this year. Doom Eternal is. And they own all these major franchises, and if you think about it, these major they're really well known. They're really popular. Almost every single Bethesda game ends up being really big, and it's a huge acquisition. To the point that I don't know if you know this, Samir, but Lucasfilms sold the Star Wars rights to Disney for $3.5 billion. The acquisition for, as you probably just read on the header, for Bethesda and Microsoft was $7.5 billion, and it shows you the scope of how big the industry is. And that's just one company. Well, 2 technically, if you think about it. That's ZeniMax and Bethesda. And if you guys don't know, ZeniMax is the parent company, as I mentioned earlier, to Bethesda and all the studios within it. And they own those as technically that's what they own. That's their parent company. That's what it is. And Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I would say that this is probably one of the biggest news things to happen within like the last couple of years because uh, if you think about it, um, Microsoft now actually has the rights to make all these exclusives they really wanted to, but um, you know,
I don't know if they can fix Fallout 76 though, Samib. Is that
I mean,
possible? Can Microsoft do it?
I don't know. Like, I can't say if they can. Okay, so Fallout 76. Okay, here's what, in my opinion, with this, I was gonna say this. Then I want to ask you about this. What do you think? So, um, what I see happening is, since Microsoft owns Bethesda now, they have the ability to actually ease the burden of Bethesda trying to be money hungry. As in, since they now own Bethesda, um, they're able to allocate more money and resources to them. So that way they're not seeking funding for their next games a lot. So they don't have to seek out microtransactions. So they could
Yeah.
ease up on those shady little microtransactions that they keep lying about in Fallout
Mhm.
76. Um, the
It,
another thing
I,
is,
I think you and I are both happy for Arcane Studios now because
yeah,
you know we love Dishonored
yeah,
series, and I'm
yes,
hoping that and I think they're probably going to stop making Dishonored games. Maybe they're going to go with Deathloop, but Deathloop has a lot of pieces of that Dishonored franchise,
yeah.
which we're literally looking forward to.
That's very true. Yes. On top of that, yeah, the acquisition is one of those things that is I would say bittersweet to a lot of people because Bethesda is one of those studios that's I would say in current times, Bethesda Game Studios is not beloved at the moment like as they used to be. But in general, Bethesda does produce quality products and they publish a lot of big games and a lot of people do enjoy it.
Yes.
And in the eyes, a lot of people think it's a bittersweet moment because uh, it's good in one aspect, as in the ability to create more quality products. Usually, when you're acquired by a well-known big company, it tends to show that your IPs will be produced at like the utmost quality. And you can tell from a lot of Microsoft exclusive games and even Sony. Sony always has one of the top tier, especially with PS4. They have one of the most streamlined, um, like top quality exclusive games on their consoles. And you know, with that being said, I was going to ask, what do you think? What is your opinion on this, Smear?
I think that it's valuable for the developers
Mm-hmm.
to potentially work on some of those big projects that they're interested in.
Yeah.
I think that I was really excited for them to announce Deathloop and seeing the
Mm-hmm.
trailer and the fact they're trying to. So they're taking a risk. They're taking a risk with that video game. They could have played it safe
Yeah.
and stuck with maybe the Dishonored franchise, maybe put out another one. But I think that I'm just hoping that this works out for Arcane and they still develop those new video games like Prey, you know, that their creativity. And I think that if they, as long as they still have the right leadership, they still have the right developers there, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to keep happening, which is something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
think
makes sense.
it can only be better for them. And I hope that, you know, this kind of fixes the Fallout nightmare
Fiasco.
that happened with Fallout
Yeah.
76. People are, you know, yelling or actually hoping that New Vegas 2 comes out too as a result of this.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that gets any traction.
So yeah, just to add on to that little thing right there. Yes. So if you guys don't know, Microsoft has been on a rampage of acquiring studios, and they have done a. I'm not gonna lie, they have done an awesome job on that. They've been
So
acquiring
what
one of the.
other studios have they acquired?
I forgot exactly which exact ones that they have, but I know that they own Obsidian now. And if you know Obsidian is the one that made Fallout, they made Pillars of Eternity, they made The Outer Worlds, which is their most recent game, and they're working on a
Mm.
new open world like massive game, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be exclusive to the Xbox and PC. But now there was a tweet I remember someone asked after the acquisition and Bethesda announced that they're owned by Microsoft. Someone tweeted to Obsidian asking them so if Fallout New Vegas 2 is possible, and they replied back to that person and they had like a little shrug thing like this. So you never know
Yeah.
now. So it is a possibility, and Obsidian is one of those studios that's also beloved because of the quality of products that they make. They're really well known for all their RPG games. And you know, going on with this, this might help, as I was saying earlier, ease burdens on the studios, to release certain things over time, and it might take the pressure off the publisher for seeking more money, and that would ease the microtransactions. Um, Speaking of that, though, we do have another thing to talk about, and it's kind of related to microtransactions and like ultimate editions. It's the control fiasco that's currently going on, or it happened a little while ago, which was a very interesting thing. I don't know if you want to start talking about that a little bit, Samir. Do you know? Do you want to
Yeah.
transition
Let
into it?
me see if I can open a window here. Or we can just start talking about it. Better yet, because we're having some problems with the windows. So the story is that they, I guess, did a really scummy move with the additions of the video game. So Control as a video game has been out for, I think, over a year now. Great video game. If you haven't played it, check it out. And they're putting out this special edition of the video game called the Ultimate Edition that's going to be meant for the next gen consoles. Well, prior to releasing and announcing this edition, they had a like special edition of the video game that they're advertising, and a lot of people bought it, thinking that, yeah, hey, this is going to be a really nice upgrade. And then turns out once that period of time was over for that special edition, then they jumped to this Ultimate Edition. So a lot of gamers are kind of PO'd about that. Like, yo, that's kind of scummy. You should have just told us about this, edition that you guys are going to go release anyways. Or are you going to automatically upgrade us to this Ultimate Edition, or what's going on here? So that was a point of contention, and they raised some concerns that that the developer said that, hey, we can't upgrade the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One X game over to the next gen because it's not possible. The gamer, some of the people on the PlayStation Store who had the video game and bought it, they ended up getting automatically upgraded, and they're like, "Wait, what's going on here? The edition I have that you guys said is not possible, it's showing up in my PlayStation Store or in my game library as upgraded. So, is this actually true, or you guys are just lying here? What's going on here?"
Um, yeah, it was a pretty interesting thing to hear about when it happened, which was like a few weeks ago, I would say. It's been a little bit of time. I know it's been a month since we did it, so the news has piled up. But yeah, the I don't know, man. Like honestly, at this point, since they basically lied to people saying that they can't upgrade them, even though they technically did on accident. Honestly, I felt like it might have been some guy that turned on like a little like he's turned.
Yeah, it might have been an honest mistake,
It
but
probably
it's just not a
was.
good look right
It's
now.
not a good look. It's really bad. It shows you that it shows you basically that publishers are pretty greedy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a developer. You're probably making a good point. You need to draw the line. There's publisher and then there's a developer. So this might not have been really. It's more of a business decision than anything else. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's definitely you can definitely tell the difference is very distinct between the publisher and the developer. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's trying to grab the money or like trying to take more money out of like a situation. But this one is kind of obvious because this game has already been out for a year.
It's a really good game. That's what's
it
awful.
really is. By the way, I literally beat it like a few days ago. It's awesome. It's an awesome game. And thank you, Samir, for the recommendation. And actually, I don't know if he's on here, but Carlos is another friend that recommended it to me. But thank you, because it's an awesome game. It's worth a play. It's a very interesting game, and its story is really well done. And I'm looking forward to the next game after. And but dude, with the fiasco and this issue that just happened to be on Control,
They're gonna loosen their player base, and the thing
they
is,
will.
that player base could have effectively migrated on to the sequel for the video game, because if you play the game, then you can see how seriously they hint at a sequel.
Oh yeah.
And they leave the door wide open for it. And entertaining video game. They could have built on some of the mechanics and some of the level design that they had, and
Yep.
just a lot of the unique things about that video game.
Yeah.
Um,
No, you're definitely right about that. And the other thing that I would say is, yeah, this definitely gives you a view of, like I said, how greedy the publisher was in this situation. Um, Basically lying to the player base, saying that they can't upgrade them because this is not our like thing. We can't really do it because of all these issues that came up in the game, and then on accident somehow everyone that already had it was upgraded. And like, I just don't know, like, what do you say to people like when you get like caught like red-handed? Like, what are you gonna say to them? And I'm just like, in my opinion, like, you honestly, if you guys want to redeem yourself as a developer, not a developer, as the publisher, I would say, is to probably just let it go, give the players the upgrade, take the loss because that was your guys' own fault. Um, you and on top of that, you guys kind of like hit the IP, like you kind of basically you gave it bad reputation because now when people think about it, they're gonna remember the the fiasco basically that people weren't able to get the ultimate edition of the game when you guys lied about it and said that you couldn't upgrade people, but you accidentally did. And so yeah, that's my opinion on it. I don't know, Samir, do you have any like anything to add on to it?
It's on Steam and Epic Game Store. If you guys still want to play it, check it out. You guys don't have to get the Ultimate Edition, but it's still a good video game, and I still encourage people to play it, regardless of these issues. It's independent of the publisher and this fiasco. Um, fun game to play.
Yeah, that's true. It is a very enjoyable game. Um, and let's see. Uh, with all that being said, though, um, we talked about this game so many times on the stream, or I should say, the first stream we talked about it a lot. Um, and it is basically something that a lot of people are looking forward to, and a lot of people had, I would say, were worried that there was going to be another delay to the game, but we talked about it last month where they kept teasing it on purpose that there's probably not going to be another delay, and yes, there's not another delay to this game. And
Which is amazing.
yeah,
Like, for a game that has been this hyped, and
yeah,
for how let down we've been through this whole year with COVID, with all the video games being delayed, all these things, it's amazing to see that a video game developer is still sticking with the schedule.
mhm.
And yeah, it got delayed once or twice, but hey, we're gonna get it before the end of the year.
That's true. And everyone knows that game is Cyberpunk 2077. Um, and the other news that came out along with this game is the Night City Wire, the most recent episode. And if you haven't checked it out, I'd highly recommend checking it out. It's an amazing episode. I promise you, you guys would probably much rather be better off watching it than us explaining what happens in the episode, just because they're really well done. And also, it helps the company out, and you're able to give them feedback directly there too. But we need to talk about the fact that they are doing the same thing that they did with The Witcher 3 and much more with this game, is that they're giving away free DLC, which is something they did exactly with The Witcher 3. Samir, I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember when The Witcher 3 came out?
So I haven't played the Witcher series or any of the games in the series.
You need to play it, man.
So yeah,
I know you
I'm
like it.
just haven't had the time to. I heard they're really I heard Witcher 3 is a really long video game.
Oh, it is. It's an extremely long game.
It's on my list. I'll basically play Cyberpunk when it comes out. And you're indicating that the DLC is going to be free, which is just amazing. In this time, with all the scummy behavior from a lot of developers, we have Cyberpunk stepping in, showing everyone else how it's done.
Yep.
Putting the gamer first.
Exactly. I mean, that company is really known to put the consumer. I was going to say the customer. I mean, same thing, but like the consumer first before their business decisions, because they know. And I don't know if I'm like correct in a business standpoint or just in my general in my opinion, when you put the consumer, the person first before the income or money, you're most likely going to do a lot better in almost any situation.
Yeah, I mean, especially you have microtransactions built in your game.
Yeah.
They'll feel free to buy it, especially when you contrast yourself so well from other video games.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. This game is going to be a single player game, and it's built to be designed for us to enjoy it all the way through without any interruptions of microtransactions, ads, anything, short timer shortcuts, and whatnot, all that crap. And on top of that, they're giving the free DLC to players. Like
Mhm.
I believe every week you get a new piece of DLC, like they did with The Witcher. So
Really?
yeah, I think that's what I remember hearing. And if you remember The Witcher, they were adding on like cosmetic items in the game. They were adding on new quest lines and new missions. And after they were done, basically with the free DLC for like 2-3 months of doing it for each week, they started talking about the expansions. And the expansions for those games, of course, they're massive, and they cost, I don't know how much they were at the time. I think one of them was like $10 and the other one was like $25.
Mhm.
But dude, the one that was like $10 could have been like its own like small game, and then the one that was 25, that was like a 30-40 hour long like story, and it was added on into the game. And it
Wow.
is awesome. It's a really good DLC. It's really well done. And I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk because they even said that their next like plans for this game are much broader and bigger for like just expanding the game. So I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to what they're going to do with it. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean,
And so
that's the other
the
nice
upgrade is
thing.
going to be free. And wait, so the DLCs are going to be free,
Yeah.
and then I heard that it also is a next gen upgrade for free too.
Mhm.
If you get it, if you get a PS5 and you get it for PS4, they'll
Yeah.
upgrade you.
Exactly. So, like, if you, the cool thing about these new consoles is that they're able to transition people into having their base games from PS4 to the PS5, so you can play almost everything. Same with Xbox, I'm pretty sure.
And
Um,
with the discs too, so you could
yeah.
probably, I
Mhm.
imagine, if you get the PlayStation 4 disc, put it on your PlayStation 5, and it'll fix the quality and everything too.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that's probably what they're trying to do. But what I would assume is with a little bit with this is I think the reason Cyberpunk was probably delayed is for polish, of course, but also that they were able to release it right around the times that the new consoles launch, because the game's
Mm,
launching.
that's a good point.
The game is launching right after the new consoles launch, so you have a chance to buy a new console and play that on there, or you can play it on yours and buy it later on and get a free upgrade to it later on when you get the new PS5 or Xbox,
Hmm.
which is nice, because you're gonna have enhancements on it that are not going to be available on this current gen console that you own. And there's no increase in the price, which is really nice because there's a big issue going on with this because it's very inconsistent. Some companies are switching to $6.99, or not $6.99, $69.99.
I
Six
wish it
ninety
was just
nine,
him.
yeah, $6.99 for a game. That's amazing. I mean, I wish everyone could easily buy games. Um, but no, they're switching from $5.99 to 69.99. I said the price wrong again. $59.99 to $69.99. So it's going to be a $10 increase in price, base price for games. Some companies have came out and straight up said, yeah, we're doing this because the cost of game development has gone up, which is true. Yes, it has. It's been gone up, and the price has stayed the same. And we
Hmm.
talked about it earlier that yes, maybe price of console or game should have gone up this generation and not stayed the same, and that would have caused it would cause a lot less issues with microtransactions and digital deluxe editions and ultimate editions, to where they don't have to split it up to get more. They don't have to recoup all that cost back.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're doing it, which is, I guess, I mean, I don't know what to say. But you have an argument now because if you think about it, you're having these big companies come out and say, yes, I want to increase the price. But then you have another company, no, we're keeping the price the same. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
Cyberpunk 2077 is going to keep the price the same.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
It's
a
insane.
massive game, like if you think about it.
Hmm.
Uh, so, um, so I mean, as Samir has written, why are you so good, CDK Project Red? Literally, like actually, like what is the incentive for this company to be this
Well,
outgoing for their
the
consumers?
thing is, like, if you're transparent with
Yeah.
your consumer, um, and you're also like there's a two-way loyalty thing, right?
Yeah.
You're buying into this brand, and you have certain expectations for this brand.
Yeah.
Like let's say you buy a Ubisoft game or you buy Arcane video studio game. You have a certain expectation because you love the video games. You play it all the time. You spend all this time
Mhm.
on the video game. And I think that Cyberpunk is doing a really good job. First of all, understanding their player base,
Yep.
and then second of all, being loyal to their player base, and their future player base and their existing. Because they've been a studio that's already, been through this. They're not a brand new studio.
Very true. You have a really good point, and that
It's
is
gonna sell, and I think the other studios are hopefully gonna pick up on this, and they'll see like, okay, this is how you do it. This is how
yeah.
you market your games
Like actually,
effectively.
yes, I definitely agree with you on that. And I mean,
The marketing has just been phenomenal.
they
Like
yeah.
if you gotta get check out their Twitter page, twitter.com/cyberpunk game,
Hmm.
and you'll see like all the artwork that they're putting out, and the artwork is phenomenal. The design choices they're incorporating, the
Really
consistency
good.
amongst the characters in terms of the design is also just very interesting. The level of detail, at least so far we've seen from them, is absolutely incredible.
Yep. I 100% agree with you on that. And they're very vocal. I would say they're always good at responding to the community and what their concerns are when there's an issue. Another thing to add is that there was a time like really recently in this month where one of the I would say the business side of CD Projekt Red, I think he's like a co-owner, I don't know his name. He said that they do plan on having microtransactions in the game, but this is for the multiplayer of the game. And they said that I believe that they want to make the microtransactions to where it's good for the players so that they don't have to spend the money, but they're also going to be happy if they want to.
Mhm.
And I don't know yet because microtransactions, of course, they're like really, really iffy, and
Yeah.
we'll see. But they had to come out and tell people, yeah, this isn't for the base game. The base game for single player, there's no microtransactions at all. So you're gonna be able to play it through. This is for the multiplayer, and supposedly the multiplayer is going to be completely separate from the main game, and it's
Oh,
like supposed to be its own game. That's what some of them have said. So
yeah,
and
that's
they,
cool. So
yeah,
all the cosmetics they say, because I would imagine like I'm down with paying an extra. If you like other gamers would be down for paying extra for cosmetics in the single player game, but if they're making all the cosmetics free in the single player,
yeah.
jeez,
I mean, I
that's
can see
amazing.
them. I can see them adding those into multiplayer and making people pay for it, but that's probably about it. Um, and yeah, like I said, that they're trying to distinct that this game is supposed to be only playable by you by yourself without having money interfere in the game to where you have to purchase stuff, like so that you can
Mhm.
play it all the way through and enjoy it and replay the game. By the way, this is an RPG. This game is probably supposed to be one of those really massive games that you probably will play through over and over again and not see the same exact thing your friend did or do the same exact thing your friend did. That's what they marketed the game. They said that every instance of the game they're trying to change it to the point where it's all variable and different, so that way you don't do the same exact thing your friend did, and your friend can be like, yeah, this is what I did in the game. And
Oh,
yeah,
so you can like when we meet up or hang out, be like, "Oh, this is what I did, and this is what happened."
yeah. So like that's what
There's
I'm
that
talking
element of
about.
chance.
And there's a lot of developers going into this direction with most of their games now, and we're gonna see an increase in that. And that's a lot of like that kind of thinking involves a lot of like heavy tech and programming, I would say, because it's a very, I'd say, thorough and intricate process to do that. But we have to wean off of Cyberpunk. We can't keep talking about it all stream. There, we can do like dedicated for Cyberpunk, honestly.
Yeah, we probably could for
Um,
sure, especially when it comes out. We might even do a live stream. I mean, that's
yes,
probably guaranteed.
definitely. But our next thing we wanted to discuss here is the opposite of what we have at the moment, and we have a company that is well known for
Some
inserting.
questionable business
Yeah,
practices recently.
yeah, always like usual.
Heavily.
Everyone knows who they are. If I'm going to mention it, you'd be like, yeah, they're of course they're on the news all the time. You hear about them, and it's Electronic Arts, and they're incorporating ads into their games, and
Yeah, with the new UFC that came out, you guys might have heard about it. They were literally they updated the game, so mid match, like you started the match, you get an ad for I don't know some you get an ad for Axe body spray or something like that.
So dumb, dude. I
And
mean,
it's like you're updating the ads, and you did it after the review copies went out when the reviewers already evaluated the video game. So that was another questionable thing. They retracted those features afterwards after there was like an outpouring of like a negative attention.
mhm.
Uh, but it's like you guys should have known prior to this. You guys should have done focus groups. You should have talked to some gamers, and you would have known that this is not a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with you on what you just said.
Advertising getting into the gaming industry,
Yeah, like
trying to sneak its way in.
it's going to be a big problem. So this is something that I talked about last stream, I think. And I don't know if everyone remembers at all what I mentioned. It was like something brief, but we're getting to the point where technology is becoming a way for advertisers to be manipulative in many manners. And Sony, there was a leak of a patent that on the PS5 where Sony is able to basically let developers develop a tool where they can insert microtransactions right into the game when a certain scenario comes up. So this is something that I don't know if it's true or not, but there is something out there. There's a patent that was out there a while back that I remember reading about, and it was by Sony. It was showing how they can target certain microtransactions, purchases, ads
Oh, I see. To
in the
certain
game
audience, to
to
certain
certain
users to
audience.
like play in
Yeah,
a certain way, or maybe based on their demographics,
and yeah,
based on their
statistics.
profile settings, like
Yep,
kind of like recommendation engines do nowadays, like Facebook and Netflix.
yep, exactly that. And I mean, other than that, like I have nothing else to add to that. Like, I mean, I can rant on and say what they're going to keep doing, but like, there's no change that's going to probably come. I mean,
I think
it's
that the pushback just needs to keep happening,
yeah,
and I think eventually they'll kind of realize that, when people start boycotting their video games, they don't know. I mean, because it's they make the purchasing decision.
yeah,
It's their hard-earned money,
mhm.
it's their life energy that's committed to get the money that they get from their jobs to then goes to these gaming companies. So if a gaming company isn't doing the right thing, and it's a very like low standard. It's not we're not asking for much as gamers, okay?
Mhm.
But there's certain like things that are right and wrong, and I think this falls into the bucket of like wrong activities
It,
or unethical activities.
it does. And we there's so many scummy things that not even Electronic Arts do. A lot of other companies do. And this is going to be the thing is here's the thing. With this EA trying to do this, this is going to set an example. And if they successfully do this
Yeah,
where
dude, you're. I mean, it was a full screen in-game ad that they
yeah,
were showing.
and the problem here's the thing. They're the people that are trying to voice against this are a minority, which is literally a lot of people. Like most of the people on the internet, I would say are a minority. A lot
Because
of
most
people.
gamers aren't very vocal. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
also yeah, that is true. But also the other thing is on top of that, um, you have a majority of people that play a lot of EA games don't care about news like game news. They just play the game. They buy it every year, they'll play it, and
Yeah.
that's it. They don't care. Like that's all they do. I know people like that do that. And I'm like, I don't explain to them like, yeah, this is a bad game. You shouldn't play. I tell people if you enjoy the game, you play it. That's it. Okay. But
It's a standard is different. Like that's all the video games they play, so they think like, oh, they don't realize that there are way better video games, and this goes against the unsaid, unwritten code of conduct.
yeah, it's an unwritten code. I mean, of
That we
course it's
expect from video game studios.
yeah, it's an IP owned by the studio. Of course, they have the right to do what they want with it, but like
Mhm.
there's a border where you have to remember to like, yeah, you got to kind of stop doing some stuff like this, and it goes into many aspects. We also know that Nintendo has been reducing stocks on purpose, not just in general, like physical. I'm talking about their digital stocks in order to create this scarcity, so the demand goes up. And
Oh yeah, with the video game, the Mario Galaxy bundle that came out.
mhm.
What is the bundle called? All Stars?
I think it was something All Stars. Let me look it up really quick. I don't remember the name.
Mario
Mario
All Stars.
Galaxy. Um,
Mario 3D All Stars. So the game is out. Um, what they're and so some ordinary
yeah.
gamer, another Indian gamer, he put out a really good video talking about this. I encourage you guys to check out his YouTube channel. And he did a really good job talking about this issue, where in which it seems that they're intentionally doing this. Nintendo has done this historically, but never like this. Where first of all, I think they're going to release the video game or make it available right up until March of next year. This is the online copy as well as the physical copy. So you might understand with the physical copy, due to the costs that are associated with manufacturing this physical game. But the online copy, why are you retracting that? Oh, so you're trying to artificially, increase demand by doing that. So you're basically saying, "Oh, get it now before it disappears." So
Yeah.
it's a questionable tactic, but it's a good video game if you want it. Um, so a lot of people kind of wish that they had also released Mario Galaxy 2,
Hmm.
but maybe they'll do that in the future on
Maybe
another bundle.
they might. You'll know. You never know what they could do with it.
Nintendo's out here getting paid.
I mean, a lot of these companies are making billions of dollars like every day. I mean, most of the times that's what their stock markets close at every day. Um, and or their MSRP and caps and whatever. But this is a tactic that's used by a lot of people or a lot of companies.
Yeah, Nintendo especially. They like it seems like, oh, why is there a are you intentionally not producing enough Switches
Yeah.
so that you can increase demand artificially? That's something that a lot of people were asking prior to this thing happening. Now it's kind of out in the open,
Hmm.
where you can tell they're intentionally doing it. And hey, it's benefiting them. But people who really like Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and then Mario Galaxy, they get to play their beloved games on the Switch,
Yeah.
which sounds uncomfortable to me. But hey, I think that I've heard that they also done a good job porting the controls over to the Switch.
Yeah, that makes sense. I hear a lot of good things about Nintendo. I would say they're fairly more consumer friendly than a lot of companies. But you don't hear a lot of bad news. And usually when you do,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
especially from Nintendo, they with their video game design, it's really good, and they do a really good job with the video games.
yeah,
They don't get into some these issues that other game studios have had,
that's true.
like EA and others.
Yeah,
Uh,
you don't hear that from Nintendo, especially. Yeah, you don't hear that. You don't hear that a lot from Sony now
Even
too.
microtransactions. I don't know. Does any Nintendo game have microtransactions? Now that
I
I think about it,
don't know because I don't have any Nintendo products.
maybe the maybe the new Mario Odyssey. I'm not sure.
It might actually have some. But you know, if it does, you know, there isn't. I would say like a big. I wouldn't say it's a. It is probably a
Maybe
big
the
deal.
mobile do, but I actually don't think Odyssey has
It
microtransactions
probably
either.
doesn't, and you're right. Actually, it's the mobile games that have the microtransaction. Their mobile market, of course, everyone knows the mobile market is horrendous, and like everything's a microtransaction in there. Everything's a
So
paywall.
I take that back. The way they get around that is through the amiibos. Do you remember those? You buy them in person, and then you can unlock things in game. So they do have. They don't have. I guess you can consider that microtransactions as well.
So they're physical microtransactions. So you buy a toy and you use that.
Mhm. And it
Oh,
unlocks something in the video game because of the NFC, a little chip that they have in one of the
interesting,
Switch
interesting.
controllers.
I'm not gonna lie. That's an interesting microtransaction to
You
think
get something
about.
physical, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
and you
physical
can
item.
physically trade it too. I assume so you can like sell it or give it to one of your friends, and you can buy half or whatever. So yeah, it's a unique way of doing it.
It
And
is a
I haven't.
unique
I don't.
way. But here's the thing: the problem you don't hear it with Nintendo is because it's catered towards younger kids. That's what it's for. And kids enjoy physical stuff like a lot of toys.
Yes.
And if it's a now, especially today, you have a lot of options where you can get game merchandise and everything from anywhere. Back then, when we were younger, that was never a thing. It would be rare for us to buy something related to a video game because it never existed. Now it's easier for you to be able to purchase a physical item,
Yeah.
and
In the past, it was like limited, like time sensitive, where you had to
yeah,
get the pre-order in order to get that special item. So now it's like the availability's increased with more money in the industry.
True. That is very true.
and more consumer.
That is, I mean, it's, you don't hear you. So here's the problem, or what the thing is, I would say it's not a problem, but you don't hear a complaint about microtransactions from Nintendo, especially the physical one that you mentioned, because it's catered towards kids. So kids would buy that and they would use it, and they don't really care because they don't understand like what a microtransaction is. They just like, they know that this thing will unlock in their game if they buy it. Plus, they also get the benefit of having it with them, like as a physical item, which is, I guess, is a plus if you think about it. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
They get a little toy to play with, right? And,
Yeah. And so
I don't know. I feel like it's the way they do it. I still consider it kind of fair play.
yeah,
I feel like there's like there's a line, and the line is sometimes relative to the person, like who the gamer is, what they're used to. In my head, it's fine.
yeah.
Now other people, you talk to them, they'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of scummy."
Yeah.
But I think it's cool.
No, that's true.
I think it's okay.
You do hear a lot of people. You know, you hear more people vocal on Sony, PlayStation, and PC more often than not, because you know, microtransactions, and most of the microtransactions are usually in third party games. And by the way, I think Samir here mic isn't muted for, I don't know what happened.
It seems that even last podcast episode we talked a lot about microtransactions. This is just a reoccurring thing because it's one of those things where it's interesting to see how the game industry will develop in the next 10 years with advertising, like, you know, with the EA UFC 4 game, or, you know, with what Nintendo's doing. If Nintendo will start including more microtransactions in their games, so that'll be an interesting thing to see.
Definitely. It will definitely be an interesting thing to see. But with that being said, we do have a little bit of good news. And so, Samir, do you want to take this one? You want to?
Yeah. So every week, or at least not every week, but every time we have a podcast, we try and highlight a indie game studio. So the one for this episode is, drumroll please, Supergiant Games.
Yes. And
one of the best.
Everyone knows. I shouldn't say everyone knows. It's an indie studio, so maybe not a lot of people actually know who they are.
Google them definitely and check out Hades. It's on the Switch now. If you got a Switch, you can get it. One of the best roguelike games that is in my library, but I haven't played it yet because I'm waiting to finish their earlier games. So I'm going through in order from oldest. I have Bastion, and now I'm on another game that they produced. I'm on Transistor.
Yeah, I want to tell you guys, I played Bastion back when it came out. It's a long time ago too when that game came out, and I think that's when the studio was initially developed.
Amazing game.
Yeah, it's
soundtrack.
An amazing game. Looks like we have someone in the chat. Did you notice that someone mentioned something about Starfish Patrick? I have no idea where he is. But what is that a reference? Is that a reference to something? Samir, do you know what he?
No, I know.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I don't have a Starfish Patrick. But what I was gonna say about the Supergiant games is that Bastion was like their initial game when they developed the studio or formed the studio, and then you had what is it called? What came after?
Yeah, so you have Transistor.
Yeah, Transistor, and then you had Pyre, and now you had Hades.
Mm-hmm.
And
they've all gotten amazing scores.
Yeah, dude,
from all the major reviewers.
Amazing, like amazing games. Like really, like they're really good. Like top-notch studio, top quality games, indie games. At this point, I'm pretty sure they're not going to become an indie studio anymore. They're probably going to be like known as like a mid-level to closer to like AA or maybe A. I don't know how you rank it, because there's like a very fine line with that too. But yeah, that is our plug for the week, or not week actually. I should say plug for the podcast. This podcast, and we actually have another thing to add on. As we mentioned earlier, you guys know Yang. Yeah, he is the person that we mentioned earlier when we started our stream. He's a YouTuber.
Check out his YouTube channel. It's spelled YONG. YEA.
Yep.
Really good content. Something that is somebody that hopefully we can learn from in our podcast for our podcast.
People complain about him being too complaining or something like that, but like honestly, the guy does a really good job of researching his stuff and then bringing the news to light. He does critique, but he does a good job. And then you also have another person that I like because he's really good at what he does, I would say. And his news is very, I would say, unbiased. At some most of the time, it actually is pretty unbiased. He just talks about news in general, and it's more games and tech, like kind of us. But his channel is Some Ordinary Gamer. If you guys, he's pretty popular, I would say, and his name is actually Mudahar. He is he's Indian too, actually, isn't he? But he's actually really good. He has a great YouTube channel. He does pretty awesome streams, I would say, live streams. He does some really interesting computer science related topics. He does various outlet and news related to like tech and games, and he also plays games. And he's also pretty genuine about the stuff that he talks about on there. And he's really unbiased at most. From everything that I've seen, he's pretty unbiased.
Yeah, he said some incidents, but I think he had some, I guess, conflict with H3, but I think he resolved that, and I think that he's pretty honest and he's willing to admit when he's wrong, which I respect a lot.
Definitely. And yeah, so with that being said,
Yeah, so check out his YouTube channel. It's called Some Ordinary Gamer.
Yep.
You can just Google him. Actually, Some Ordinary Gamers with plural. So with that, I mean, I don't really. Oh, I guess we can mention. We'll include some links on the YouTube video we put out, clarifying on Ubisoft. So we mentioned the sexual misconduct allegations, and we wanted to clarify on that. So we'll include some notes on the YouTube video that gets posted if you want to check out those stories.
Yep.
They clarify a little bit further on that incident that happened and what the consequences of that was as a gaming company, how they responded. So you can check that out if you guys want.
And so we have one more interesting topic to actually add on before the end, and it's actually it's related to microtransactions again. But what is the first company to incorporate loot boxes? And not even loot boxes, I would say. Maybe microtransactions? Would that be a better way? Or
I don't know if there were microtransactions prior to loot boxes. There probably were.
Yeah.
But I think loot boxes really opened the gates for a lot of things.
Yes, they did.
After that. So like cosmetics and skins and these things. So I think that if you look at the Wikipedia article, they cite EA,
Yeah.
oddly enough, and Mass Effect 3 as the first package game to offer a form of loot box at its launch back in March of 2012. So this is an interesting question that I guess we asked ourselves last episode that we had. We were kind of curious about it, so we did a little bit of research. Now this is coming from Wikipedia, so let's just double check on the source. But I think when I checked it, the source was also reputable. Let me just see here.
Yeah. With him looking up, I was gonna say I remember, and a lot of people still talk about this.
It came from Softpedia, and yes, I think it's a reputable source.
Okay. Interesting. So I actually didn't know that's a loot box, but I know. So that's what I was going to say. Actually, microtransactions probably were a little different because now, if you think about it, you hear about the 2008 or 2007, actually, 2008 or 2007. You probably have heard when Bethesda got in the light with Fallout 76. They were the original studios to try out microtransactions because of the horse armor DLC that they added to the game, where you could purchase horse armor in Oblivion, I think. And that was like way back in like 2008 or 2007, one of those years. And that's the one that I always remember as being one of the first ones probably to try that out. There's probably a one way before that, I guess, probably somewhere. But I would say this.
Yeah, don't go to Softpedia, by the way. I just did some more research, but I still think that they were one of the first Studios Mass Effect 3.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Studios
Because
apparently has some sketchy stuff, sketchy software on there.
oh, okay. But what I was gonna say is probably I feel like mobile games have always had microtransactions from like the beginning of inception. Like
Hmm.
always. There was probably like you even on flip phones, you could play games. I'm pretty sure there was probably a way to purchase something inside the game so you can actually do something. And I'm that's all it's always existed, I felt like. And it's always just been there. I don't know. Do you know of anything? Or do you remember anything about it, Samir?
So when you say always been there, I didn't play the old Mass Effects, so I'm not sure historically, um, when they started coming into play,
Yeah.
loot boxes that is. But I feel like it was early 2000, like around 2010.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I don't really recall, and maybe it wasn't that much of an issue where they're kind of, some gaming companies were testing it.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like convergence of like, gambling kind of entering into, gaming a little bit. And I think Steam did even a good job with the skins that they put out for Counter Strike. So that might be another one to consider. I don't know if that was prior to 2012 that they incorporated that feature.
They did actually. Didn't Steam always have trading cards and trading abilities where you can earn money and use the money on the Steam store?
I don't know about the Steam store. I actually don't know historically when Steam started. Oddly enough,
Really? I think Steam was really one of those early things that's been there for a really
I
long
think yeah,
time.
they've been around for a while,
Yeah.
and I think they're the first. I mean, they're the still the major online PC game store.
Yeah, they're probably still going to be number one for a very very long time.
Yeah,
Uh,
the features that Epic Game Store and the competitors have just they don't compare right now.
yeah, not
They
at the
they still
moment.
need to build up.
There is one store that could possibly, if it gets enough popularity, it could probably be that, and it would be GOG or GOG, which is the CDK Project Store. And that one's unique feature is it can integrate all the launchers into one, and you can launch your games. You can track everything, even if you are on a console. You can log into the PlayStation and Xbox, all your devices. You're able to track everything from the beginning since the inception of that console and your gamer tag. You can track,
And this podcast episode is, by the way, not sponsored by CD Projekt Red,
yeah.
although we wish it was.
Honestly, yeah, that'd be really cool. CDK Project Red, if anyone from that company is watching or sees this in the future, please hit
One of
us
the two
up.
people watching.
We would be down to like get our hands on your game and try it out and like play it for you guys if you want us to test it. I'm actually in my, by the way, if anyone from CDK Project Red is watching, I'm a game tester in my game psychology class, so I test games right now. So if you want me to like test it out, let me know. Um, but yeah, with that being said,
Already,
what's up?
we had an hour.
Yeah, we did actually. That's
Did
awesome.
it.
Well, which is actually good timing because we did plan for it to be about 45 minutes, which is nice. Last time I remember we were we planned for it to be 30 minutes, ended up being like an hour and 15 minutes, which is
Yeah,
okay. This
we're
is
getting
actually really
better.
fun. Yeah. And we do have a lot of hiccups. And like today, I know that we probably lost like a lot of people because my internet crashed at the beginning. We were trying to actually start the stream and we were waiting. We were waiting for the music to finish and I was going to tone it down. And all of a sudden, this was, by the way, the second time today. My PC is Etherneted, and we got our internet like fixed earlier this week. It shouldn't happen, but today, for some reason, internet just went down, and I don't know why. And this was the worst timing. It was like as soon as we started the stream. So hopefully, we don't have these many hiccups in the future. We're also still trying to learn our software, so we're trying to get better at it and be more efficient about it. We're trying to see if there's better tools that we can apply and use here so our streams become more streamlined, I would say, and cleaner and efficient and more organized. Right now we do some little wacky stuff, but it still works.
Just bear with us. We're hoping this will get better.
Yeah.
We're iterating, so it's just gonna get better and better. Audio
Yes.
quality is better on my end. Video quality is better on my end, and Samip is already a solid person, so I'm just catching up.
No, there's some stuff that I can still improve. Definitely, maybe getting better at like I don't know, talking. I guess I feel like you know we hope that with this we have the ability to increase our speech and stop talking like yeah like in the middle. I know that I do it all the time. It's a natural thing, but it's something that I really want to improve on myself, and I believe Samir will probably be the exact same, would want the exact same thing. But we're also trying to learn like new things at once, so it's a lot of information. If you've never streamed before, it's actually it's actually not as easy as you probably think it is. There's a lot of stuff that you have to make work properly in order for it to actually work all at once together smoothly, I would say. And yeah, I mean, other than that, guys, we do plan to have another podcast. It'll probably be again in October sometime. You can expect more topics and more news. Maybe more talk about industry news. Maybe even some more technology, because there's a lot of issues developing with Epic Games and Apple at the moment. That's an interesting topic to definitely discuss on here. But there's potential for a lot of new things every month, and that's one thing that I enjoy about this, is that there's so much to talk about within 1 month. And
Yeah, my goal for the next podcast, and it might be a little bit early, but I think it'd be really valuable for us as an experience, is to try and get somebody to interview.
yeah,
So give me a game developer, maybe an indie game developer, somebody who's like working on a project that's pretty small, and we can invite them and just talk about the video game design process.
yep. And we definitely plan on doing that at some point. We look forward to it. Don't know when, because we're not going to say anything.
Yeah,
We're not going to say on timing anymore, because we started now.
it's easier said than done. That's a good point.
So we have a lot of things to work out still, and we're trying to get better at it. So hopefully you guys can bear with us, and as we try and improve our stream quality and just overall production for this, we hope that you guys still enjoy it and stick around. We even if me, Samir, end up becoming like affiliates, or maybe even a partner on Twitch at some point.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
I even on my channel, I tell everyone this: I do not care about making money off this stuff. Like, this is just something that we want to share with you guys.
Hobby.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. Dude, I have so much crap to do, but like, I like doing this because it's fun. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I'm like busy with school. I have so much crap to do right now, and I like taking time to do this because it's fun, and it gives you like a break, and you get to do stuff where you get to talk to someone about topics that you both are passionate about, and you share in common. So yeah, with that being said, those are my closing notes. Samir, if you want to add on to it, you're welcome to.
Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Definitely tune in, follow, and hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. The link is available if you scroll down. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, have a good one, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.